year. It was January, and we talked about the book. I think myself happy. I didn't even have the book with me. How come? Next time, I think myself happy. And today we have another book. Unfortunately, I do not have. Is a book that I'm reading through an ebook to my Kindle. So, but it's a very very famous book. Maybe not. Let me just not assume. So today we want to talk about a book called The Biology of Belief of Dr. Bruce Lipton, which is a book that is quite not yet old because we have books that are older than that particular book, but he's starting to, having his stars of nobility also. Is a book that was written for the first time. That was written in the 70s and got published for the first time in the 80s. And that book, written by Dr. Bruce Lipton, is really the book that has made known in the mainstream, at least for some people, the idea of the new field called epigenetics. Today is not more that brand new when you talk about epigenetics. Sometimes people have been stumbling on that on a way or another in talk shows or hearing about it here and there, even though they may not really fully understand what it's all about. So when Dr. Bruce Lipton wrote this book entitled The Biology of Beliefs, Unleashing the Power of Consciousness, Matter, and Miracle, we are in the beginning of the 80s or we are in the 70s. And although what he presented in the book, and he said it by himself, is not like a brand new discovery for people that are in the scientific world and involving in the scientific world. For the mainstream and the very vast majority of people, it was something absolutely new. And one of the things for which we can commend Dr. Bruce Lipton is that he has made it mainstream as much as possible. Even till today, he keeps on talking about it. He had just after this, The Biology of a Belief, he wrote another book entitled The Honeymoon Effect, which I think also we have to review. And it's really amazing to see how ignorance can cause us a lot. Because from the very first pages, the very, very first pages after the introduction, acknowledgement, and all that, um, he debunks a lot of belief that we had about a lot of things that still today we still believe. For example, for any Jack and Jill that you can meet in the street and ask him, um, do you believe that if a person have in his family people that have a certain kind of illnesses, maybe diabetes, let us take diabetes, do you believe that the people of that family have much more um probability to have that diabetes, like if your grandfather or your great grandfather and your father had diabetes, do you think that the you will have more chances to have diabetes? And the person will say yes. I think that, by the way, we have such a story in our family. Sometimes it's with illnesses, sometimes it's with some kind of pattern of it's with some kind of patterns of behavior. Sometimes with some each family feels like they have their kind of stuff. And the first thing, like we have not even yet entered into the properly the book. The first thing that Dr. Bruce Lipton debunks is that it is not true. The genes are not the one to control our behavior. And then when we meet behavior, it's not like, okay, your grandfather had diabetes, your father had diabetes, you will have diabetes. No, it's not the gene who determines that you will have diabetes. The one who determines that you will have diabetes is your belief. From the very first page, Dr. Bruce Lipton let us know that it is not the genes that 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 shape the belief, but it's the beliefs that shape the genes. In other words, because your grandfather had diabetes and whatever he was told during his lifetime and at his death, he developed the consciousness, the awareness in his family and therefore to his son that diabetes in the family and I may probably have it too. So the belief, that which was actually transferred to you, was not per se the gene that is activated, quote unquote, activated to diabetes, but but it's the belief that in your family you transmit diabetes. And because that belief was passed down from your grandfather to your father, and your father passed it down to you, is that belief activate the gene of diabetes in your system. It's not the other way around. It's not the gene of diabetes that were already activated and now you believe it. No, it's your belief that has activated the gene. You know that today a lot of studies has already shown that there are some people, a lot of people have in their genes a cancer gene, but it's never activated. It's dormant their whole life. Why? Why two people will have the same cancer gene, but for one it will be activated, and for another one it will not be activated? Their beliefs. Their beliefs. And most of the time, the beliefs that the family has entertained, willingly or willingly, consciously or unconsciously, the family has entertained those beliefs. And because the family has entertained those beliefs, the beliefs shape the genetical structure that is passed down to the offspring. So, to summarize it in a very simple way, as he did himself, our beliefs shape our genes, not the other way around. But for the majority of people till today, they believe, oh, my father was wearing glasses, I will wear glasses. His father before me was wearing glasses, I will wear glasses. We have an issue of myopia in the family, so I will probably have it. We have an issue of whatever it is, sickle cell anemia, whatever it is. And it is passed down from generation to generation, of not because of not because of the genetic pattern per se, but because of the belief that people have most of the time. So we are really, in this book, The Biology of Belief, it is really, really important that we become aware that, our belief have a really, really key role to play. And so in the book, the author, Bruce Lipton, take the example of a cell that he made this discovery while looking into a cell. And the funny thing is, as human beings, we are a compilation of trillions of cells. So when they bring it down to a cell, the way the cell reacts shows us in a microscopic way, shows us in a micro way, the way the whole being, the whole human being, the whole person will actually react. So, from the observation that he did at that time in his laboratory that day, that fateful day, and he realized that for a very long time there was that belief in the scientific world that, as we were saying earlier, the genes are predetermined and there's nothing we can do about it. There are certain illnesses, there are certain infirmities, there are certain patterns of behavior that people are born with, and there's nothing that they can do to prevent that. There's nothing that they can do to escape from it. But on that particular fateful day, when he was studying alone in his laboratory and looking into the cell and the way the cell interact with the environment, he realized that the cell was actually more responsive to the environment around than to the constitution of it. In other words, what your body, let us take the example of the body, what your body will respond to, what your body will answer to, is more the result of your environment. And by environment, we mean your perception, what is going on in your mind. And your environment in here is the mixture of your beliefs or your thoughts, your imagination, your beliefs, your thoughts, your imagination, and your memory. Memory in terms of the experiences that you have had or that you were a witness of as growing up. And so all of that constitutes your environment. And you may have the gene that should normally provoke, that should normally, cause you to, to go and to develop this illness. But if your environment is not responsive to it, if your perception is not responsive to it, if your thoughts, your beliefs, your imagination is not in alignment with thinking that yes, you ought to have that sickness, you ought to have that pattern of behavior, you ought to have that infirmity, it will not show up in your life, it will not show up in your body, because you have not responded to that perception. You have not responded to that environment. So, the biology of beliefs or the power of consciousness, matter and miracle, the Dr. Bruce Lipton make us to understand that at a microscopic level, the cell was responding to the environment. The consciousness that the cell will develop about the environment will be actually what will determine the way the cell will behave and what are the elements that the cell will pick up and the cell will choose to work on, or the cell will choose to project or to portray or not. So everything was about consciousness. If the cell was aware that her environment, for example, was hostile, and that therefore because of that hostility would develop some pattern of thought, some pattern of behavior, and it will that's when the scientists will see that the genetic pattern of the cell will start to change because of the awareness, the consciousness that the cell develop about its environment. So it is really, really a book that I advise you to read, The Biology of Beliefs of Dr. Bruce Lipton, and the power of consciousness and the matter and miracles. And therefore, in that, as you go on with the book, he unveils to us always on the base of science and study. Since then, since it's more than 3 decades now that the book has been written, there are much more studies that have come up to giving even more weight to that discovery, or at least to the spreading of that discovery made by Dr. Bruce Lipton, that our thoughts are so powerful, our mind is so powerful. I think we hear it a lot, at least more and more now, but sometimes it's still we still do not grasp, we still are not yet aware the extent to which what we believe in the core of our being, in our subconscious, is impacting our life in every way, is shaping our life, is shaping our relationship, is shaping the state of our finances. I mean, it's even shaping the way we get older, the way we'll get older. And all of that is just because of the way we think. Knowing that majority of what we hold as belief has been passed down to us in a very tender age, between the age of 0 to 7, where we were not yet able to assess, is this belief a a positive belief? Is this belief actually helping me, or is it harming me? Is this belief actually useful or not? We're not yet at that stage where we could assess belief. So a lot of what we believe is outdated, because those are beliefs that we have received from the age of 8 to 7, where we did not have we did not yet have the whole structure of our brain put together to decide, to take inventory of what our environment believed and decide if we choose to believe that belief, or if we choose to drop it off. So for a lot of us today, that's the work that we are on, or that's the work that we should start on, to reassess what we truly believe about so many matters of life, about relationships, about finances or money, about health, about children, about love. So many things that we believe just automatically because they were passed down to us, but that in the reality of the things, we have never sat down and asked ourselves, why do I believe this about love? Why do I believe this about life? Why do I believe this about money? And really make a conscious decision, a deliberate decision, an intentional decision about, okay, this is what I believe about money. Is it a belief that serves me, or is it a belief that hurts me? And from there now, make a decision. And I think that we think that that's really where this book is a precious book, because it gives us the ability, it gives us at least the open door to know that a lot of stuff that we believe are not our beliefs, they were passed down to us. And that there's time now, in the beginning of this 2026, as we have just entered the new year, new Chinese Year, the year of the horse. So Happy New Year to you, all that follow the Chinese calendar. And to ask ourselves the different beliefs that were passed down to me, are they useful to me, or are they just harming me? And if they are harming me, what are the new beliefs that I want to have in regards of the kind of life, health, finances, relationships, wealth that I would like to manifest and to embody in this life. So that's really where this book become is a precious book, is because it gives us the hope that whatever we are found in our lives right now, in whatever aspects, in whatever domain of our life that we feel frustrated maybe, or unsatisfied, or desiring just more, it is possible. It is absolutely possible, and it's not only possible, it is it is the way to go. We assess what we believe, and if the beliefs that we are having are great and good and useful to us, great, we continue with them. And if the beliefs that we are having are hurtful to ourselves, are harming us, are installing blockage in our lives, then drop them off and replace them with new beliefs that will help us and will help humanity to be better. So it's on this note that I'm leaving you for today, guys. We'll see in our next episode. Today we are Thursday, so our next episode will be on Sunday. Are we going to continue with the book? I don't know. Maybe, probably, to like give a whole conclusion about it on the aspect of matter and miracle, because today we're mostly talking about the aspect of consciousness. So that which we are most conscious of is that which shape our life. If you are conscious that the world is against you, if you are conscious that there is no human being, there's no more genuine people in this world, if you are conscious that money is rare, if you are conscious that, let me flip it up. Why am I just talking about negative things? If you are conscious that money grows on trees, if you are conscious that there are still authentic, genuine people that can help you without any string attached, and just for free, and just from a genuine, empathic, compassionate heart, if you are aware that life is good, if you are aware that the cosmos is generous to you, and the deep desire of the cosmos is to be good to you, if you are aware that the cosmos even wants to stand on your defense, if you are aware that you are born rich and that you have just forgotten about it, that's all. How it is not possible, according to the studies, the different studies, scientific studies, if that is your persuasion, if that is your perception, there is no way you will not live what you believe. Because we are creatures that have been made to experience what we believe, whether the belief is good or not so good. So why not become deliberate and intentional in choosing to believe that which is good, that which is excellent, that which is beautiful, that which is sacred, that which is holy, that which is truthful? Why not? Why are we suffering for nothing? But that would be an object of another book by another author, who says that one of the great disadvantage of the human family right now is that we are addicted to suffering. And it's a book written by Mina Ifan, How to Become Savagely Successful in the 21st Century, in a generation or in a world that is addicted to suffering. We're gonna have time to go through the book, because that's also an outstanding book. When you realize that the truth is we are addicted to suffering, we love to suffer, we love to complain, we love to murmur, we love our pain, we love we love that which gives us pain and hurt and harm us, because we have not been trained to love happiness and love and happy endings. We are addicted to suffering where everything is smooth and everything is right and everything is blossoming and flourishing and everything is just in divine order. We feel, if we have not gone through if we have not gone through uh, the healing process and the reactualization, we feel like something is going to go wrong. And the thought that something is going to go wrong makes something to go wrong, because we are very, very, very powerful beings. Powerful beings. So, ok. Donc, aujourd'hui, nous parlons de Biology of Belief. Il faudrait que je trouve le titre en français du livre. Oui, oui. Il faudrait que je trouve le titre en français du livre. Mais on va pour aujourd'hui, on va faire comme ça, on va prendre le titre en anglais, Biology of Belief de Dr. Bruce Lipton, qui a écrit son livre dans les années 70 et qui a rendu populaire un terme que peut-être vous avez entendu ici et là sans vraiment comprendre ce que ça veut dire, c'est-à-dire epigenetics. Je ne sais pas comment on dit ça en français, mais on va dire epigenetics. Et bien que ce que M. Bruce Lipton écrit dans ce livre, qui était d'ailleurs son tout premier livre, ça fait maintenant plus de 30 ans qu'il l'a écrit, bien que cette découverte selon laquelle nous ne sommes pas esclaves de nos gènes, mais ce sont nos croyances qui sont mais ce sont nos gènes qui sont esclaves de nos croyances. Je vais le redire en d'autres termes. De façon populaire, si vous demandez à n'importe quel euh, Thomas là dehors, est-ce que si votre grand-père, votre arrière-grand-père a eu le diabète, votre grand-père a eu le diabète et votre père a eu le diabète, est-ce que vous pensez que cela vous rend plus susceptible de développer le diabète? Et les gens diront oui, que ce soit pour le cas des maladies, des infirmités ou des schémas de comportement. Les gens pensent de façon générale là dehors que la plupart des gens pensent que ça se transmet, que génétiquement, ça se transmet. Et avec ce livre, Biology of Belief, le docteur Bruce Lipton nous fait comprendre que ce n'est pas vrai. Ce n'est pas le gène qui détermine comment notre corps va réagir, mais c'est plutôt notre croyance qui structure notre gène. C'est-à-dire que la raison pour laquelle le diabète court dans votre famille, peut-être depuis votre arrière-grand-père, ce n'est pas tant parce que vous avez un gène, quote-unquote, entre guillemets, diabétique, un gène du diabète, entre guillemets, ou un gène de cancer, ou un gène de drépanocytose. Non, mais c'est plutôt parce que la croyance a été développée que vous avez ce gène. Quand votre grand-père ou votre arrière-grand-père a eu cette maladie de diabète, de drépanocytose, de quoi que ce soit d'autre, de maladie génétique qu'on peut dire ou de comportement qu'on peut dire, ça a été transmis dans l'environnement familial que dans notre famille, il y a des diabétiques. Dans notre famille, il y a des drépanocytaires. Dans notre famille, il y a. Et donc, parce qu'il y a, on a absorbé cette croyance. Et parce que l'être humain est un être tellement puissant, notre croyance a structuré ou restructuré nos gènes. Et nos gènes ont activé cette infirmité, ce schéma comportemental, cette maladie à cause de nos croyances. Donc, si nous voulons, et nous l'avons vu encore et encore depuis la publication de ce livre il y a plus de 30 ans maintenant, d'autres études sont venues soutenir et donner plus de poids encore à cette publication du Dr. Bruce Lipton, en disant que c'est nos gènes répondent à nos croyances, nos gènes répondent à notre perception. Donc, plusieurs études ont été faites prouvant, par exemple, que deux personnes ayant le même parcours, ayant le même environnement, ayant normalement la même histoire génétique, ont ce qu'on va appeler le gène du cancer, quote unquote, entre guillemets, le gène du cancer. Et après avoir eu le gène du cancer, alors qu'ils ont tous deux ce gène, une personne va développer effectivement le cancer et l'autre ne va pas développer le cancer, alors qu'ils étaient apparemment, ils ont la même histoire, les mêmes écoles, tout est similaire. Mais pourquoi un va développer le gène, va manifester le cancer et l'autre ne va pas le manifester, alors que tous deux ont, entre guillemets, le gène du cancer? Perception, croyance. Et donc, avec ce livre, le docteur Bruce Lipton nous ouvre une porte extraordinaire parce qu'il nous donne de l'espérance, de savoir que nous ne sommes pas liés, nous ne sommes pas esclaves de nos gènes, nous ne sommes pas esclaves de l'histoire de notre famille, de devoir la répéter encore et encore et encore et sans même s'en rendre compte. Répéter l'histoire financière de notre famille, répéter l'histoire relationnelle de notre famille, répéter l'histoire génétique de notre famille, répéter l'histoire de la vie de nos parents, de nos grands-parents, de nos arrière-parents, sans même s'en rendre compte. Et donc, avec ce livre, The Biology of Belief de Dr. Bruce Lipton, il nous donne une porte de sortie, un exit d'or, une possibilité de tout recommencer à zéro, de permettre à ce que nos enfants, nos petits-enfants et nos arrière-petits-enfants aient une histoire totalement différente parce qu'on a accepté le devoir d'être la génération qui remet tous les compteurs à zéro. Tout ce qui n'est pas bon, je refuse de le transmettre. Point barre. Pas de, pas de compromis là-dessus. Tout ce qui n'est pas édifiant, encourageant, apportant la vie, l'amour, la lumière, je refuse de le transmettre. Parce que tout part d'une décision. Et ça, c'est quelque chose qu'un autre auteur m'a apprise. Et c'est l'auteur Mina Ifan. Nous allons certainement avoir le temps de faire un de ses livres. Comment devenir rich, dont le titre est Comment devenir outrageusement. How will I let me translate it in English. How to become savagely successful in a world addicted to suffering. Que tout part d'une décision. Nous devons prendre la décision d'être ceux-là qui vont remettre les compteurs à zéro pour que nos enfants n'aient pas à venir. Parce que chaque génération qui passe et qui croit la même croyance fortifie la croyance, fortifie cet état de fait dans la famille ou dans cet environnement en particulier. Et dans cet environnement en particulier. Donc, choisir d'être ceux-là qui vont dire, ça s'arrête avec moi. Ça change, ça s'arrête avec moi. De un, ça change avec moi. Je n'ai pas à reproduire l'état financier de ma famille que mon père a connu, que mon grand-père a connu, que mes grands-parents ont connu, que mes arrière-grands-parents ont connu. Je choisis d'être la génération qui transcende. Sur le plan de la santé, sur le plan des relations, sur le plan des finances, sur le plan de la vie de façon générale, je choisis d'être la génération qui transcende. Je choisis d'être la génération que quand mes enfants, mes petits-enfants, mes arrière-petits-enfants, jusqu'à la 7e génération vont regarder à moi, ils vont dire merci de ce que j'ai accepté de me tenir pour changer les choses. Et que quand la génération qui était avant moi, cette génération avant moi, vont regarder à moi, ils vont dire merci de ce que j'ai osé dire. Ça suffit. Ça suffit. Ça n'a pas à continuer. Je ne veux pas que ça continue. Tout ce qui est bon, tout ce qui est édifiant, tout ce qui apporte l'amour, la vie et la lumière, sans problème, je le transmets aux générations futures. Mais tout ce qui ne l'apporte pas, ça s'arrête avec moi et je commence un nouveau schéma. Donc, c'est l'une des beautés de ce livre de Dr. Bruce Lipton, Biology of Belief, qui vient vraiment nous amener à cela. So, that was for the one who said he wants it in French. So, I hope I help you, guy. But that was it. But I will find a way to find the title of the book in French so that if you are looking for the book, si vous cherchez le livre en français, que vous puissiez le trouver en français. C'est un livre extraordinaire. C'est un livre fantastique. Fantastique. Et alors que je le relisais pour le dessin de ce live stream, j'étais like, est-ce que j'ai lu ça la première fois? Parce qu'il y avait des choses que je lisais et j'étais encore au début du livre. Et j'étais like, est-ce que j'ai vraiment lu ça? Mais il y a une chose aussi qu'on apprend quand on lit les livres et c'est ça qui fait en sorte que les livres seront toujours des trésors pour l'humanité, même avec l'avancée de la technologie et tout. C'est que la manière dont vous lisez un livre quand vous avez 10 ans n'est pas la même manière dont vous lisez le même livre à 25 ans. Ce que vous êtes capable d'appréhender du livre, ce que vous n'êtes pas capable d'incorporer du livre va être différent parce que vous avez changé. Et il n'y a pas à se dire, oh, mais comment se fait-il que j'ai lu ça il y a 20 ans, j'ai manqué ceci, j'ai pas vu ceci. Non, non. Vous avez vu, au moment où vous avez lu le livre la première fois, vous avez vu et vous avez été capable de comprendre ce